Hello and welcome to the RotoWire Showdown Show. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Jack Burkart. We're talking this Friday showdown at DraftKings Birmingham City against Reading. It is up. Let's do this, Jack. Are you ready? Birmingham City, Reading. What do you think?
I'm a big Birmingham City guy. I don't know. I
Okay.
feel a big connection to the club, and anytime it's a game against Reading, the boys are going to be fired up for it. So I think the people are pumped, and I don't know. I think we have at least 2 hours to discuss that matchup.
All right, so why is that showdown up before the World Cup semifinal on Wednesday? I don't know, but we're going to talk about this France Morocco match. We're going to go off the cheat sheet. We have all the prices here, so it won't be too difficult. Jack has his own spreadsheet, whatever that he puts prices in. He can create lineups, but I mean, all we need is really the prices and the matchup. It's not too difficult here to talk about. So. Yeah, this is before Tuesday's game, so I guess there's nothing else to talk about, really. It's just talking about this game, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. Do we have any insights from our show yesterday when we were talking about the Croatia Argentina matchup today? I just captaining Messi a lot, and I'm praying. That's my plan. But
Yeah, Captain Messi. We'll talk about it here. So he's 12.8K, right?
yeah.
On Tuesday's slate. Now we have Mbappe at 12.6K, so we'll definitely have some conversations around that.
hmm
And the odds here, France 62% chance to win, 49 almost percent chance for a clean sheet, 1.74 implied goals. Morocco 0.74 implied goals. So that's a one more implied goal there for France. So France are a little bigger of a favorite than Argentina are, which isn't too surprising because Morocco are the fourth. I don't know. I don't want to say worst team. I'm trying to think of a word here. The fourth least favored team of the remaining four teams is what Morocco are. So that's why France are sitting here, and they're expected to score more goals than Argentina are expected to score today. Morocco are expected to score fewer goals than Croatia. So we go into this game, and Morocco have still only allowed one goal. I mean, everyone keeps saying it. Morocco, one goal allowed, and that was an own goal against Canada. So,
Yeah.
uh, what are your early thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, well, if we wanted to find a name for Morocco, maybe we can say that they're the last kid picked in gym class or something like this. They're the least favored upon, but it doesn't mean that they're the worst team. They played really well and they've defended really well. I follow one of these like expected goals accounts, and I think they're running a little bit good on not allowing goals. Like they very easily could have. I mean, Pepe could have scored that goal towards the end of the game. Then, of course, he blames the Argentinian referee afterwards, but that's a whole different
Yeah.
story. So they have been lucky a little bit, but you have to be a little bit lucky in a knockout tournament, and they've performed quite well. I mean, their defense has been really well organized. They really haven't allowed like an extreme amount of chances. So yeah, I just think France might be a bit of a different animal than anything that Morocco's faced. And when I was thinking about this from a DFS point of view, I noticed that the prices sort of feel the same, right? Because yesterday we were talking about how all these Argentinian forwards and Messi were so expensive, and but we didn't want to play any of them. On this slate, I want to play all of the France forwards, so it's going to open up different roster construction, I think. But we'll talk about that in tournaments and cash games and stuff moving forward. But I don't know what your impression was.
It was first for the lineups in this one. We have a few questionables as we see on here. For France, we'll see. Upamecano and Chouameni just came out, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes before the show that neither of them trained today. So it appears, wait, Rabio is actually also in that conversation, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think Rabio. So I got news that yeah, we have we have a Rabio not training, we have a Upamecano not training, and we
Okay.
have a Chouameni not training, if I said that correctly. So that
So
could be a lot of volatility.
we have questions. We don't know what it's for. I know there's been a lot of illnesses going around. Guys have missed training, but usually this is a day before the match. For a guy to miss training a day before the match is pretty relevant. So something to keep an eye on there. I mean, if all those guys miss out, it definitely changes some things up. we'd get like a Fofana in there. Maybe Kamavinga would move in there as well. So it definitely changed the lineup. Upamecano didn't really look that good against England, so maybe that's actually a benefit for France. What it might be Saliba stepping in for him, the Arsenal center back there. So
What about
uh,
Konate? Is he not eligible or?
um, yeah, I guess it was probably both those guys that started in the Tunisia match. Yeah, I mean I'll pull up the box score in this. I guess yeah, Konate started. I thought for some reason I thought Saliba started, but no, it was Konate that started that game. So yeah, Konate would come in, probably Fofana in the midfield. I'd assume Kamavinga might move in. I wonder if there's maybe not in this game, but Theo Hernandez didn't really look that good against England, but maybe not going to be the same kind of matchup here. Because I was thinking maybe they go to Kamavinga given how Hernandez looked last game, but against Morocco probably won't do that.
Yeah,
As
I
for
was gonna
Morocco, yeah,
ask
go ahead.
because sorry, yeah, like Theo Hernandez was terrible. Like, is Camavinga the only possible substitute? I mean,
I
there's gonna
believe
be a bit of
so
pressure to not play
because
him.
yeah, because his brother Lucas Hernandez got he tore his ACL in the first match of the World Cup for him, and they don't have anyone else at left back. Kamavinga, if everyone remembers correctly, he played against Tunisia at left back, and he won like 11 tackles or something crazy like that. Um, it was a pretty wild match for Kamavinga, who plays central midfield for Real Madrid, played left back, a little out of position. But I
Yeah,
mean, you think that that is an option, but just against Morocco, there's not going to be that much defending as there was against England. So I doubt that Deschamps will do that, take Hernandez out because of that one game. As for Morocco, the last news I saw, Aguerd is looking on the right side of fit. So is Mazraoui. Apparently, he only had a stomach bug, which kept him out of the Portugal match. But so
oh
Mazraoui should
wow.
be back. Aguerd may be back. I'd say Aguerd 75-25. I saw Romain Saiss is 50-50. Saiss, I mean, he basically last two games something was a hamstring or thigh or something. He's just not. Even if Saiss starts, he's not going to go 90. He kind of said he's like I probably shouldn't have played last game, and we'll see how he feels in this one. But if he doesn't go, El Yamik was decent enough against Portugal to vie to lead center back, and then Atiat Allah replaced Mazraoui, and he did it pretty well there. So.
He got
Um,
the assist big time.
Right. I mean, the Morocco backups played, I mean, as good as you can ask for in that game, again, in a massive game against Portugal. But I think that should be it. Injury wise, Chidira, backup forward, is suspended after his two yellow cards in the span of a few minutes. I think that's it. I think that's it. This is a few more injuries than the Tuesday game, but
Rock and roll.
rock and roll. So for this matchup, you mentioned you're going to want all the French forwards. I assume that's because, so if you look at Morocco's recent results, they allowed 12 shots in 9 corners against Portugal. Portugal 0.92 expected goals. Spain had 13 shots, 8 corners, a lot of those in extra time, but 1.01 expected goals. If you dove down a lot in those numbers, there's not a ton of shots, but there's a lot of crosses. It seems like Morocco are allowing crosses to these teams, and they're having about 25% possession. I think I saw a stat in their last game that they have the fewest amount of possession out of all these teams in matches. So you're going to get a lot of France possession, and that usually leads to crosses, sometimes shots. It just depends what France can do with that possession. So far, Portugal, Spain, they haven't been able to do too much for them, but they are having solid floors. So how do we want to attack this? You mentioned the four forwards here. So who do we? I mean, I guess we can talk Mbappe here for cash games. You don't want to captain Mbappe in cash games. This isn't Messi for Argentina. You
No.
right?
I think it's just a little bit too steep to captain Mbappe. I haven't really like I plug numbers into an Excel spreadsheet and hit sum, and then I just see if it fits. So I haven't really done the most robust lineup study. So we'll have to do some work. But a first impression is that Mbappe makes it too hard to fit in three French forwards, and I think that you're probably going to be better off to play three French forwards because Morocco are going to concede a lot of possession. So that's going to be very good for an Mbappe. It's going to be extremely good for Griezmann. I mean, he's had a great floor in all games so far this World Cup, and so you figure this is one of the better spots for him um, to get a ton of crosses and chances created. And then Giroud's probably a little expensive and not really a cash game play anyways. I'm sure he'll get some looks, but Ousmane Dembele, even if he only plays 80 minutes, I mean 8,800, he'll probably get he'll probably be able to outscore most of the alternatives. It would be tough to find a 2v2 off of him that would outscore that. So because I want to play those three guys, I do think Mbappe and the captain's a little too expensive. But if you look at his game log, I'm terrified of it. He's eclipsed over 30 points, I think, in 3 of his 5 games. Maybe I miscounted last night though. So it's a really scary fade in Mbappe because it's a good spot for him. I think is he close to even money to score a goal?
Yeah, he's 120.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to captain him. And if you go into the big double up, you're going to be staring that down the barrel. And that's a scary proposition. So I understand why people will go there. I just think I don't know, I just think I prefer Griezmann, but what do you think?
So we had this conversation for the England match, and I mean, I think we got it on the spot with how we were going to play Mbappe against England. We talked about the matchup with Kyle Walker and
Hmm.
what England were going to do against him, and I mean, it worked. Mbappe. I mean, maybe it didn't work uh, on the score line, but it worked against Mbappe. Mbappe had one shot, one chance created, one cross, two fouls drawn, 5.2 fantasy points at DraftKings. Um, this matchup, this isn't Kyle Walker, but Hakimi plays at PSG with Mbappe. Those guys go against each other. Mbappe, I don't know if he tweeted it or posted on Instagram. He was cheering for Morocco earlier in the tournament, cheering for Hakimi. Uh, Seems like those guys are pretty good friends playing on PSG. So now we got Hakimi against Mbappe. How much are you putting into this matchup? Does this maybe this isn't Kyle Walker and Mbappe? This isn't Morocco trying to focus solely on Mbappe, but I mean Hakimi, he's going to come into this game saying my goal here is just to glue onto Mbappe, take him out of this game. I don't think Hakimi's really going to get up the field very much. So
No.
from DFS purposes, I'm not going to look at Hakimi, but just for Mbappe here, I almost don't even want to play Mbappe in cash games.
Wow. That's that's a little bit bold to not play Mbappe in cash games. But I think if you're buying into that narrative, I mean, plus I think Mbappe if he doesn't score a goal, he'll score like maybe 6 DraftKings points. Maybe. I don't know. But France are going to have a lot of possessions. That makes me think that Mbappe, could have a floor of 8 to 10 points even without a goal. And if that's the case, I still do want to play him. Who are you interested in playing instead in that case, right? Because DFS is a game of alternatives. So you can fade Mbappe, but what would be the plan to use your salary? Because you do have a lot of salary to use.
Yeah, because we don't have the actual slate up. I'm trying to figure it out by looking at it. So if you do the Griezmann captain with Mbappe, you're kind of sitting around, I don't know, about 5,500 per slot for your final four slots.
Yes.
So I mean, I guess at that point you're almost kind of stuck with going Giroud if you don't go Mbappe because you have the money. But I
Yeah.
so probably maybe it's not worth it. And then you're also the thought with Mbappe, even if you don't like him, you're kind of blocking for when he, maybe he does have a 20-point game. So
Yeah. I've learned this lesson the hard way in Showdown cash games where it's like it's not my best game by any stretch, but I still play them and I still study them. I try to learn them, and I'll be in spots. It's like a Tottenham Showdown, and Harry Kane is going to be plus 160 to score and obscenely expensive. So I'm like, oh, okay, easy. I won't play Kane. I'll play Son and Ivan Perisic and get all the floor points and fullbacks, and I'll save the salary. And then we flip the cards, and this is in the big $5 double up, and Harry Kane is 85%. And I'm just completely, and it's not a good feeling because one, 85% of the field disagrees with you. So you're either an idiot or a genius. I'll lean on the other side of that one. And you are just completely, you're completely out of it if that goal scorer ends up scoring. So in these situations, maybe I've learned, I don't know if it's the optimal thing or not, but Mbappe is probably going to be over 70%. That might be really conservative. And for that reason alone, it's like, okay, the alternative is Giroud. I don't know if I want to do that. Giroud and some extra mid price guys. I'd rather do his studs and duds and have Mbappe and just make sure I have that thing locked up. And hopefully I can handle the lineup news well and find, those last three spots and do as well as I can. But I think the field is probably going to do this sort of Griezmann and Mbappe move, and then we just want to get the last four spots lined up. That's my personal opinion, though. The salary is a little bit tough, but I mean, there's some guys in the 3,000 to 4,000 range that you can play. So you can play two of those, and then you can play like a Dembele and a mid-range player, as long as the Excel spreadsheet's working. That doesn't seem so bad to me. But maybe we can go through some of the prices of these players.
I do think if you go Mbappe, you probably will be stuck with maybe at least one center back.
For sure. I am stuck with Aguerd right now when I do that. I just need it to make it
As
work.
your one Moroccan player or multiple Morocco players?
Um, I'm looking at this, and to make it work, I'm playing two Morocco players. Maybe I can fit Varane in instead of I put Salim Amala in there just because the price fit. But yeah, you're just playing two low-priced Moroccan players.
Yeah.
I plugged in mid-priced Rabiot since he seems better than the options in that range, but that's a fitness issue, so that's going to be something that's a complete question mark, and I don't even know if that's a good player or not. And then I
Yeah.
plugged in Dembele as well, who I also don't know if that's necessarily a good play, but it seems appealing and it feels like I want to get some of this French upside in there because I mean, who's a better play? Who projects better, Dembele or Ziyech? That's a question that you'll have to answer.
I definitely want to see the injury reports on all these France guys before, even the Morocco guys. I want to see what the actual injury is for Rabiot, like why he's missing training today. I want to see that before plugging him in, or at least using him, because if it's like a muscle injury, then you have the situation. Even if he starts, he could be the guy first sub off. Same with Chouameni. I want to see what the actual issue is with these guys, because what we had it with, I guess Rodrigo De Paul is a guy with a muscle injury. Di Maria, those guys in today's game, we'll see if
Hmm.
both of them start, kind of a thing. De Paul went off early last match. It's just with muscle injuries, it's just they could be off in the first half, basically. So that's something I'd keep an eye on.
Yeah, that happened with Nuno Mendes in that one Portugal group stage game, and it
Yep.
tilted everyone's face off. So it's definitely there's like an edge in being aware of it. But
I
Adam,
think
maybe. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think if you fade Mbappe, you can fit in like the fullbacks. You can fit in Theo
Yeah.
Hernandez. You can fit in Kunde, I guess, if you want to take that route. Kunde's 5K. So with Mbappe, like you can't. It's kind of difficult. You're not going to be able to get Hernandez for sure.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I guess you could play him. I guess you could play Theo Hernandez instead of like a Dembele with Mbappe, and you're still doing this punt twice construction. Um, so you definitely are sacrificing maybe some interesting plays. So I'll maybe just going through some of these like mid-range guys. So the construction that I'm talking about with three French forwards, including Mbappe, this is going to have you omitting players from this range. So like Mazzari, I pronounced that wrong. Kundi, you can't play an En-Nesyri, you can't play a Chouameni. No, maybe you can play like yeah. No Hakimi, but we're not too interested anyway. No Hernandez. Some of those seem like good plays. I have to confess, I don't know Koundi's game too well. Is he a pretty good attacking player? All I know is that like literally every single club kept trying to buy him this summer.
He doesn't attack that much. He plays a lot of center back for Barcelona. I think he played mostly center back at Sevilla. I'm looking at his game log. He was almost exclusively center back for Sevilla. So right back isn't his normal position. So that's kind of why he
His
has
game
what
log isn't great.
he has
Yeah.
one cross and three starts. Though I guess he has three shots. So he has more
That
shots
feel,
than crosses, if that says anything.
yeah, it feels sort of like a bad play at $5,000, just as a first impression. Um,
I I don't know if I'd go that far, um,
it's just
because
expensive.
yeah, it's okay. Um, I'd say he's still. I do like these fullbacks though in this matchup because
Yeah.
this game. I don't know what I should compare it to the Poland match, maybe where I do like Hernandez, though. I think, I mean, some people will look at what he did against England, and I mean, we kind of, I don't know, bashed him a little earlier on the show, but this is a completely different matchup. I know Ziyech is up there as well, and he'll have to deal with that, but France are going to have more of the ball.
Yeah.
Um, he's going to be up the field a lot. Kunde probably will be up the field a lot as well, and Morocco have allowed a lot of crosses. I mean, if you could play, you could play the fullbacks and Captain Giroud route. Maybe get the fullback crossing into Giroud kind of a thing. I do like Hernandez. 7,200, and because I guess this is just the fade Mbappe route. You get Hernandez because Hernandez probably won't be that popular if people are paying on Griezmann, people are paying for Mbappe. Hernandez probably won't be that popular, but I think Hernandez might have a similar or better floor than Mbappe in this game.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, if we're talking about cash games and you're already not playing Mbappe, you don't particularly care for what's the popular
Right.
thing to do at that point. And that's okay. You don't, in theory, we don't worry about, utilization in double ups. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely the upside. When you don't play Mbappe, you do get to play Theo Hernandez. And I think, yeah, he just sounds better to me than Kunde. I guess I was pretty harsh on him, but the thing going through my head is I was just imagining it would be like an Arsenal slate or something where Ben White, right back,
This,
Ben
this is
White.
kind of what it is. It's kind
Yeah.
of what it is.
And so I would just kind of like chuckle at that price. I mean, if Kunde was, 4,000, then I'd be just a little bit more interested because it appears that he does shoot sometimes. But I don't know, 5,000's a lot. And there's this Moroccan player, Unahi, who's like been pretty solid actually, who's nearby. He almost seems like a pretty decent $4,000 option. I'm just pulling up his game log right here. Maybe he's one of these like better in real life players, but the announcers just kept lavishing praise on him in the last match. I mean, this game
Yeah.
log's not bad. Against Spain, he got 6.8 DraftKings points, and against Portugal, he got 8.9. Created two chances against Portugal. Drew four fouls, so he seems to be one of these fouls drawn kind of guy. Took a shot. Seems like a completely reasonable, a pretty decent play in that 4,000 to $5,000 range.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have Unahi in my so rare team. So, um,
Oh, there
he,
you go.
it seems like a lot of his foul drawns are like after he makes a tackle or steals a ball, like the other team will tackle him, kind of a thing. We'll kind of take him out.
Nice.
But I guess here, so for Morocco, are you considering? Oh, well, you probably aren't considering Ziyech then, 8,200 in cash games.
It feels like too much, and let's pull up his game log. It's such a small sample. It kind of feels, I know how it's like, oh, we need like long samples and things, but in the World Cup we have small samples, and that's all we can really look at. And I mean, 8 points in the last game, 2 points in the previous game. We're going to project that France keeps the ball quite a lot. It's tough to play Ziyech, but I mean, he'll probably go 90 minutes, even though he didn't go 90 minutes against Portugal. And I guess you want to say, do I want to consider him or Dembele? And Dembele's probably more likely to score a goal, and he's going to be on the team with the ball more. There's going to be more opportunities to create chances. It's just going to be tough for me in a cash game construction to click Ziyech unless I desperately need that $600 somewhere else. But it seems like I should be prioritizing spending on the more expensive players. So I do think I prefer Dembele, but just in that price range. But in tournaments, I mean, he can definitely be part of a goal. What do you think about his outlook, Adam?
I'll say that I think Ziyech is in play if you fade Mbappe, and this
Yeah,
matchup for Morocco, I mentioned, they don't like possession, but I think Portugal, the way Portugal and Spain play, is a little different than how France played.
I agree.
Both Spain and Portugal had more than 70% possession in those matches. I don't think France are going to be 70+% possession. That's not really how they play. Looking back at a few of
No.
their matchups, 55% possession against Poland, and then they were at 62% against Australia, and those were the two high matches. So
Yeah.
even if they get to 65, or I think it's going to be sitting at kind of in the 60% range. I think that just means, more time with Morocco in the ball, more time for them, more opportunities for guys like Ziyech in the attack, more corner opportunities. So
Hmm.
I'm not entirely looking at what happened the last couple matches though. I mean, Ziyech was fine last game.
Yeah, he was fine.
Granted it was no, it wasn't 120 minutes. It was only 90 minutes. Sorry, 82 minutes actually. He went off early. So, yeah, I mean, I think he can get to what he was at last match, around 8 points if not more, depending on how this game goes. So, I mean, I think that again, this comes to the fade Mbappe route.
Hmm.
Like Ziyech and Hernandez are only in the conversation if you fade Mbappe because you're gonna have the money to spend. And I think it's reasonable that you can look at those guys. And I mean, what if Mbappe is at maybe he does hit 8 to 10 floor points, but doesn't get the goal or assist? And so the rest of those lineups with Mbappe, whether he's captain or not captain, they have maybe one or two center backs in there, and those guys are down there 2 to 4 points, and you're instead of the 2 to 4 points, you're getting the I don't know 8 to 12 with Hernandez and Ziyech instead. So
Mm.
I do think the it's viable. The
Yeah.
roster you can put together is without Mbappe is viable in cash games.
Yeah. I mean, you're making this is again a Jordan Cooper lesson, lineups, not players. And that lineup has a nice case for it right there. It's tough to disagree. I think you're right as well. Like I might have been overestimating how much possession France will have. They're just not the type of team to want to, boss the game around like that. They are content. They're probably a little more like this is going to sound silly, but it's like they're a little more tactically well drilled than other teams. It feels like I feel like they have a system and they want to play that way, and it's just not. They're not going to be desperate to possess the ball the whole time, and therefore Ziyech is going to get a few more minutes on the ball, and that does make a big difference. I'm definitely sold on Ziyech in tournaments at least based on this. Fading Mbappe it still feels a little bit tough, but the route's looking a little bit more clean now based on that. So
Mhm.
I think that's. I don't have anything more to say. That was well said, and I dig it. I dig it more now.
All right, we figured out cash games. Now,
Shout
I
out you.
now 50K. We're gonna win the 50K tournament. So Mbappe in tournaments. Should I look up what his percentage was on this last slate? What do you think
Yeah.
about captaining Mbappe in tournaments? Will he be 40%? Is he going to be that high?
Oh boy. Um, I guess Griezmann and Giroud and Dembele are viable alternatives, but he's going to be over 30 for sure. I'm so bad at this. It's tough to say, but again, he's the highest priced player, so people just love to click on that player and the captain, and he has by far like he's got like a thermonuclear ceiling, so he's going to be quite popular at 40%. I'll probably play some of him at captain just because I want access to that. But I mean, you're really restricted in what you can do for the salary, and you just made me quite interested in players like Ziyech and Hernandez and Dembele. We have Giroud and Griezmann, so you're kind of pricing yourself out of a lot of those combos. So maybe I'm not gonna play 40% of Mbappe captain. If he scores a brace, I lose. Oh well, that happens sometimes, but there's just a lot of different rosters that you can construct without him.
All
Um,
right. I found numbers most for the Poland France match because I don't think the England one is a good comparison. So
mhm,
Mbappe was 12K. We had this is in the main GPP. It was 10K to first.
mhm.
32.6% captain for Mbappe, 87.5% total. Griezmann was about 15% captain. Theo Hernandez was 15.2% captain.
What?
Um, this was the main thing with Hernandez is if you look at his game log before that Poland game, he had 22, 19. Like he had some big matches to where
Okay.
people were game log watching and plugging him into captain. So that's kind of
All right.
that's the reasoning there. Dembele was 9K, 7.4% captain. And the opposite side of that, Chesney, 5.5% captain on 40% of teams. I think those are all the main ones. I guess I missed Giroud here. Where's Giroud? Giroud is somewhere in here. I don't think he did good in this game, which is why he's not on any of these winning lineups.
Hmm. Interesting. Maybe that
So
it's probably
probably
going to be
around the
similar.
yeah, probably pretty similar. Maybe outside of Hernandez, you'd probably be more looking at everyone but Dembele. Dembele would probably be the least popular of those guys.
Yeah, probably. So, I mean, the Theo Hernandez 15%, that's going to have to siphon to other players. So maybe Mbappe is going to be around 35 to 40. Um, that's a little less than his probability to score a goal. Um,
Yeah, Giroud in this one, he was 10.2K, so more expensive than he is now. 6.7% captain, only 24% total. And again, this is coming off of his last game. He didn't play against Tunisia. And this prior game, he had 4.2 points against Denmark. So it seems like heavy game log watching. So are people going to look at Mbappe's game log and not captain him because of the
no,
England game?
no. I think he's one of these game log proof
All
sort of
right.
players, right? Everyone knows who Mbappe is. Um, I think I'm interested based on the numbers that you said, and we can sort of use them to approximate utilization. That you know, I want to take some scratch offs on Giroud and Dembele in that case. You're getting, if Giroud is 8% and the captain and Mbappe is 40%, I feel like the payoffs are right when Giroud does well. That you can, if Giroud does well and Mbappe fails, you're going to vault up the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think that's the pretty obvious French route if you want to take that Giroud or Dembele at captain,
Hmm.
because even Griezmann is still will still be pretty popular because I mean he's been good, and he has the set pieces as well. So
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to want to play. I'll consider Griezmann and captain as well. I mean, just play him without Mbappe, and I think that's going to be plenty. That's not going to be super chalky as a result. Um, so that looks really good as well. I mean, it's pretty boring, but these quote unquote secondary French pieces are really talented. They could easily get a goal and a goal plus assist and be the best captain, and you're getting a utilization discount on them. So,
would
I
you
mean,
consider
pretty smart.
captaining anyone outside of the out of for France only? Anyone outside of the top four forwards there?
I am, because this is something that I talked about in the previous video, how we talked about maybe captaining a lower priced player. And the thesis behind that was that a bunch of expensive players all do pretty well, but none of them do outstanding. So in this type of situation, you could captain someone like Varane. And I haven't plugged in all of the numbers yet, but I have my proprietary Excel calculator that uses the sum function. But if you plug someone like a Rafael Varane in there who only costs 3.8K. I mean, you kind of need him to score a goal. Um, well, maybe not, maybe in the biggest GPPs, but a way that this can work is that as well is if Griezmann, Mbappe, and Giroud all score a goal. and you somehow you want all three of them in your lineup, and then somehow maybe Varane has a good game, maybe he gets up to like 6 or 7 DraftKings points somehow. That might be enough to like make the lineup have enough points where you don't need one of those good captains, because if you play an Mbappe captain and he scores 18 points, well, maybe you can't fit the other two players. So I'm going to want to build some lineups, I think, where I do captain one of these lower owned French players, hope they can contribute in some way. Like a center back can contribute to a goal on the set piece by getting their head on it and then nicking it to one of the forwards or an easy tap in. So there are routes to these guys having ceilings. And because I can play a lot of good plays because of that, and I don't think it's going to be super high owned in the captain spot, that's something I'll definitely want to sprinkle in. I don't know what you think of that strategy, though. Is that something that you ever do?
I usually just captain goalkeeper.
Ah, that's a good idea. We don't have
I
the goalkeeper price, though, so we have to talk about other.
I don't do a ton of. Oh, actually, we can find goalkeeper pricing. I don't do a ton of captaining center backs. Um, where's Kanate at? Because we might get a Kanate start.
Kanate's at 3.4K, so that's a good price. Yeah, I don't do this strategy. I outlined a ton. Like if I build 20 lineups, I'll do it like in 4 of them. Just sprinkle in. If there's like a defensive midfielder who takes shots, like a Chouameni or a Kamavinga, if he starts, like, you have these nice outs right there, and then the upside is that you can play a bunch of the best plays. So it's something it's a construction I like to tinker with.
All right, I'm getting here to this goalkeeper. It's in the optimizer here.
Oh, nice.
Urice is 7,600, which okay.
Seems about what
Bono's 4,200.
4,200. Oh my, that's pretty tempting.
Kanate is pretty tempting though as well, but I guess he only has that one start. No, he started against Australia, I guess. Hmm.
Yeah,
I wonder why they moved him out for Upamecano.
yeah. I guess my point is that if you do captain a center back, these lineups aren't necessarily dead. You're not just saying, oh, the center back has to score a goal. There's sort of game flows where France do quite well, but the points are well distributed. That lineup can be competitive. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe I have to study it more though. It's
yeah,
just a
I'd
thought.
say not as huge on. I guess their goal odds are pretty similar, but if it is Kanate and Varane, I would. If you're like looking to captain this range, I would just captain Kanate. He's
Konate.
cheaper, and I think he's more likely to score.
All right. Yeah. I mean, sure. I like it.
All right. So what else do we got here? So for tournaments, Bono, I believe. Jack, are you still with us here?
Yeah, I am. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. I was just making sure.
Good.
Um,
Yeah, I'm happy to be.
so how are we gonna win with Bono captain? Are we just plugging Bono in with Mbappe, Griezmann, Dembele, Giroud? Is that how we're going?
I don't think you can fit all of those guys in there. Um,
No.
oh, you can fit 3 of them. So yeah, I plugged in. So we have Bono. So I plug him in the captain. So he's 6.3 a captain, and then you plug in Mbappe 12.6, plug in Giroud at 9.6, and then plug in Griezmann at 10.4, and then let's try to plug in 8.8 Dembele. How much salary do we have left? 2.9K left. Ugh. Just brutal. And well, if it had 3K left, that lineup would get duplicated. So
Right.
probably wouldn't want to play it necessarily.
So who would you want to remove from the Bono captain? Would you want to remove Dembele or Giroud?
I would rather remove. That's an interesting question. I think I'd rather remove Giroud. I feel like Giroud doesn't really like. He's more of an efficient. Maybe I'm saying this wrong, but like, I feel like Dembele is more likely maybe to shoot a couple of shots from distance, especially if they're chasing the game. And he's a little bit cheaper, so you'll be able to rearrange some pieces of your lineup. So if you put in a Dembele instead, he's 8.8, right? How much salary
Yeah.
are we left with? All right, then you're left with. Sorry, we're crunching the numbers. We have we have 2 lineup spots left, and we have 11.9K left.
Oh, that's plenty. That's plenty. We can get a Nesri in there.
Yeah, that is absolutely the play. So we put a 5.4K and Nesri in there for the goal. Did you see how high he got up on the like they were like saying that he was like 2.4 meters in the air or something when he scored the header?
He was like 2 feet above anyone else.
Yeah, you got to have that. You absolutely must have that. All right, and then we're left with 6.5.
Rabio, if he starts.
There you go, Rabio, because we want players who will take some shots on the goal right there.
Perfect. We're good.
Yeah, I like this lineup.
Let's end it.
Yeah, easy game, folks. We just winners only.
Though I was gonna say, so the comparison here, Dembele and Giroud. So Dembele, you're going for crosses, and that doesn't exactly benefit your goalkeeper.
No,
So you're going for crosses, hoping for 8 points from crosses. Also
it
seems like
gets.
he also seems
I'm
like he's more likely to be subbed off as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of just hoping that most of the shots come from Mbappe, so
Yeah.
it doesn't particularly matter. And maybe Giroud has a couple shots, but Dembele has a lot more crosses while they're chasing the game. It feels like Dembele is going to be like in a game script where En-Nesyri scores a goal and then France are chasing the game. It feels like Dembele is more likely to benefit from the floor points point of view from there. But you can definitely go either way. We're splitting hairs, right?
Yeah, Giroud, his floor is pretty much just shots. So and it doesn't happen too often where Giroud is gonna have 4 shots on target and no goals.
Yeah, I that was my impression at the start. He seems kind of an efficiency player. He's not going to be like
Yeah,
an
I mean,
Mbappe, just fire off shots.
anytime he's taking shots, he's in the 18 or
Yeah,
he's even in the 6 with a header or something like that. So that's kind of why he's your efficiency, whatever. So
yeah.
all right, so we got the Bono. Is there anything else we need here? Anything in Nesri captain? Do we want to go that far? ZH captain?
Oh, I kind of I kind of do like an Nesri captain, and it's just
Do
because
you
he
think
can score.
back-to-back matches though? In Nesri, can we trust him?
Oh, we can completely trust him if he can jump that high. But I just like the price. I mean, at 5.4K, and he's a target man on the attack. Why not? Then you can fit a bunch of the French guys, and in that sort of situation, you can play a game where Morocco score 1 goal and France score 2. I mean, it seems like a great route. Everyone's going to be captaining French pieces, so you can still get that upside from Nesri. I'll definitely be constructing lineups with him in the captain spot. Like him more than Ziyech. Ziyech is expensive, right? If you captain Ziyech, you could captain Dembele, so there's more opportunity cost there. If you captain a Nesri, who are the nearby options? I don't know. Do you want to captain Kundi, who we've disrespected greatly on this show,
You have.
or I have, I should say? Please don't listen to this, Kundi. I mean, and then Chouameni. I mean, and Nesri sort of he sticks out for feeling in that price range. So super great tournament option, I think.
Would you consider captaining your Reese?
Um,
I think it's the same situation as what we just had with
Emi
Emiliano
Martinez.
Martinez. It's
Yeah,
like, how many saves is he going to get? So,
yeah, probably not many. Um, I mean, sure, maybe I'd build one lineup with Lloris in the captain because I'm a sucker for Tottenham, but that would just be a nostalgia type of thing. I don't think it's the best route to go down.
and he's not even that cheap either. So,
No, he is not that cheap. I mean, I guess you could play him in cash games. I guess we talked about this price range. If you don't really like Theo Hernandez, in France are probably pretty likely to keep a clean sheet. Um,
man,
but
I can't use the Reese over Hernandez in cash.
yeah, I would probably prefer the fullback as well in that situation. Um, yeah, not much of a fan of your Easton captain. You know, captain one of these cheaper players. Yeah, and Nasri sticks out in that range. And then otherwise, sprinkle in some of these secondary, quote unquote, France attackers. I think those are all great tournament routes. Read the 1-0 article as well.
Yes, RotoWire.com. Or you could probably search it. Just search Jack Burkart 1-0. Yeah, well, your articles will pop up on RotoWire. It'll pop up somewhere.
You might
You can
also
find
find
it.
my thesis, so have fun.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we're just going through pretty much everyone's name here and saying, yeah, captain them. But I think Buffal is also a guy we haven't even
Ooh,
mentioned that he is a sub risk. He will go off early, but I mean he at times he's looked pretty good in the attack for Morocco.
he's a
Um,
good player too. I always like talented players.
and no one's going to captain him. Like we're mentioning a Nesri as an underdog, but he already has 2 goals, so people are going to look at him. People
That
are
will
going to
be,
look at
yeah, that will
Ziyech.
be used for sure. I mean, it's kind of a psycho move to captain Buffal, but I don't mind it. I mean, he's had opportunities on goal. People are going to be like, "Oh, he gets subbed off early. That's so frustrating." It's like, well, okay, well, he's going to be less than 2% in the captain maybe.
Right.
And if he
Like we're
scores a goal and gets
talking
subbed off, who cares? I mean, he got the goal.
right. Like the center backs will be sub 2%, sub 3% captain, but also so will a forward in this game in Buffal. He'll be down there. So, what if instead of a Nesri gets the goal, what if Buffal gets a goal or assist and he's your captain and no one else has him? He's gonna be not only will he be sub 2-3% captain, he's gonna be on less than 10-15% of overall
I was gonna
lineups.
say you might not need to feel the pressure to captain a Buffal for this reason, right? Because he's not gonna be that high captain, so you can flex him, and he's not gonna be popular in the flex because people will probably prefer Rabiot and Hernandez. And I think we're not gonna be on Hakimi so much, but other people will be on Hakimi. So um, that's it's a tough button to click, but I think trying to win 50K, so
Mhm.
you have to click some tough buttons sometimes.
Trying to win 50K. So, is there any bench options we want to consider here?
Um, who has been coming off the bench for France in the attack?
Well, you'd be looking at well, Taram actually came on. No, he didn't even came on against England. It'd probably be Coman
Coman?
who had negative point .5 against England.
Hmm, super sub.
Kolo
Um,
Muani is not playing.
yeah, he's not going to come on late in that type of
It
situation.
seems like they're bringing on more defensive guys when they have leads in games. So there's not a great comparison here.
Yeah, Turam is like 11K. That's a bit too much to run that strategy out. And we don't know who's going to come on, right? Like it might be Coman, it might be Turam. Um, I mean, if they're really desperate, they might put in Colomani. It's one of these things, right? We want to know who's going to be the person who subs on. Like Spain, we always know that Spain is going to put Morata on, and that makes that move feel a little bit more viable. I don't feel that certainty, so it's just not a route I'm going to consider.
And let's say for Morocco, Chadira is suspended, so I think it's going to be Abu Khalal and Ez Abdi coming off the bench for them in the attack.
Do we have prices on them?
We should. Abdi is 6,400 and Zakaria Abu Khal is 7K. So actually they're kind of expensive. So
Just play Buffal. We don't have to.
yeah,
You want to do it.
Abu Khal already scored off the bench, so that's why he's 7K right now.
I see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't really feel the bench this time. Never really do, but I don't even really see a clean way to get it off. I
All
mean,
right. Anything else here? What if is it going to change your thoughts on France if like Chouamani and Rabiot both don't start, or do you think it doesn't matter whoever starts in
um,
midfield?
well, it might matter. I joked about this before the show, but we might be staring down the barrel of a Matteo Guendouzi start at 38K. So if you're ready to go down that road again, I'm not too. I think as long as one of those guys plays,
As long
it
as
should be
France's
fine.
front four is in there, I think nothing will change too much.
Yeah, I I do agree. I don't know. All these France midfielders are pretty solid, so it probably won't change my opinion too much. And maybe that's wrong, but oh well.
All right. RotoWire.com/soccer trial, free
We need a
10-day
prediction,
trial.
Adam.
I'll get there.
Oh,
I gotta do this first. I've gotten a couple questions about what the actual trial gives to
oh, sorry.
people. So free 2-day trial, no credit card. But if you search RotoWire soccer content breakdown into Google, I did a short little video before the Premier League season that goes over all the content we have. So if you're interested in the soccer trial, check out that video. I don't know, first 10 minutes of that shows you what we have, but mainly like this cheat sheet, the optimizers, all that's included in there. And if you subscribe, you can get into our Discord as well. And we've been constantly talking in there throughout the
Yep.
World Cup. But yeah, so prediction here: France, Morocco. You're up first.
I love this Moroccan team, but I just think France are just I think they're too good. And I'm gonna go with something I think I said a little bit earlier. France 2, Morocco 1. I think Morocco get an early goal. Let's go. It's gonna be from Enesri. A nice little breakaway, really, a little defensive breakdown maybe because of some France subs. But then I think France are going to get it together. We're going to get an Mbappe goal in the start of the second half, and then of course a Giroud winner in the dying minutes of regular time.
You didn't read my betting article, did you?
I didn't read it this time, although I will.
All right, it's very similar to what
Oh
you
boy,
just said. There's a bet in there for Morocco to score first.
what's the price on that bet?
I think that one's plus 235 or plus 265.
Oh, that's fun. I like it.
Yeah. I think deep down, I think France 2-1 is what I think deep down, but I'm going to say Morocco 1-0.
There you go. Who's your goal? Buffon?
Buffal.
There we
Let's
go.
go. I'm going to
Let's go.
captain Buffal. Let's do it.
Do it. Win
I'm
all
going
the
to
money.
enter the main with Buffal captain, and I'm going to get last place, but I'm going to get last or I'm going to win 50K. That's what it comes down to.
GPP life.
But thanks for watching. Yeah, I already gave RotoWire.com/soccer trial. You can find Jack at Jack Burkart. I am at Zdroik on Twitter. And please like, subscribe, give the thumbs up on YouTube. Make sure to, if you listen on podcast form, leave some reviews over on Apple. Those are always good notes for our overlords. If the overlords see the positive vibes going to RotoWire Soccer, I'll be able to put out more content for everyone. So I just want to read the last review here from NY Values. Key part of my process gets you close to most of the best plays and get a good feel for the chalk builds for tournament pivots. Yep, NY Values
I wonder
giving
who
us
that is.
giving us the good stuff there. And we got Chan and Bear talking here. I don't think anything. No, nothing.
Bears shouting out as Abdi as your sub
Yeah,
guy. So there you go.
yeah. As Abdi. Okay, we'll see about that. All right, guys. We'll be back for I guess the third place game and then the final. So good luck on the next two slates, and we'll see everyone in I don't know Friday. I guess we'll do the shows Friday. How about that? All right.
How
Good luck,
about that?
everyone.
Good luck, everyone.